I don't know if you all need a ticket, but we might need a ticket on our way in this journey. Let's look at the journey. There's a lot of journeys going on today in the scriptures. Let's look at the first journey written in the book of Isaiah. It's important to realize why God is welcoming these people with such encouragement. What happened was Babylon conquered Jerusalem. It was destroyed. All the people from Babylon, and this is one of the greatest tragedies next to the Nazis for the Jews. It was the greatest tragedy that the Jewish people experienced, the captivity in Babylon for generations. And what happened was, in the meantime, Jerusalem was downcast, and now it's built up. Now it is built up. Even then, when Isaiah is welcomed back home, it wasn't built up. They say there wasn't a stone upon a stone. That's how bad it was. So some of them went home to start rebuilding, and they sent messages back. Now, they weren't Twitter and FaceTime messages, so they probably took a long time to get there. But basically, the message to the Jews in Babylon, who weren't even permitted to practice their faith 100%, was, come on home, we got it again. We're going to rebuild it, and we're going to reestablish ourselves. And what happens is, a lot of the Jews do come home, but some of them say, you know, I don't want to work. I don't want to build. I don't want to rebuild. I'm staying put. So Isaiah is prompted to say, God speaking through Isaiah, I come to gather nations again, of every nation, and I will set them as a sign among all people. He wants the people who are exiled home, and in the promise of coming home, they're going to be significant. They're going to be a sign to the entire world that this won't happen again, that God is dwelling with them and God will protect them. Now, you know, we think differently than the Israelites of old. We are not a political religious organization as a church. We are a religious organization. Politics is separate in the world. But in this time it wasn't. Jerusalem as a center of culture, religion, and politics was one. So they're thinking along those lines. So he tells the people of Israel, the Lord wants you back home, and it's going to be so great. People will come offering gifts, strangers will come, people you don't even know, different religions. Think about the background and the implications of that in reference to Jesus. See, Jesus is, quote, the new temple in a sense. And when he comes, he's like this. He's opening his arms out to everyone. And he's telling them all to come home to him. He's the temple, not the building. He's the temple. Although in March of 23, I'll be going back to Jerusalem with a group of pilgrims. If you'd like to join, let me know about that. But it's an amazing experience because we're actually in the area that Jesus walked, and we're actually in the area that Jesus pointed to. And it's interesting, when we hear more about Jesus in a second, how being there makes a big difference. So Isaiah's motive here is to bring people back home. And when they're back home, they'll be reintegrated into society, they'll be able to worship freely, and they'll be able to offer God's offerings. Jesus is walking. Now, that's a pretty wide invitation. Now, in Luke's gospel, there's another journey going on. All of Luke's gospel is a journey. Every now and then you get just that little phrase, here we got it here. He went teaching, blah, 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 making his way to Jerusalem. So in Luke's gospel, as you read all the stories, you always have that little phrase, on his way to Jerusalem, making his way to Jerusalem. Because in Luke's gospel, Jerusalem is going to be the key and the location of the great sacrifice, the crucifixion. So Jesus is going toward his crucifixion, and he's teaching as he goes along. So you can just picture Jesus and all his followers, and some of them really impressed with him. This guy really knows his stuff. And some of them say, oh, we want to come with you. And the question is, will only a few be saved? There's probably 1,000 commentaries on what that phrase means. But salvation and healing come from the same origin, the word. So is the man or woman asking, only a few going to follow you into salvation, or only a few going to be saved, or only a few going to walk with you into your new kingdom that you're going to? And Jesus, you can't back Jesus into a corner, because he answers a question with a question. So he says, well, you heard him, strive to enter through the narrow gate.